Hi guys, in this video lecture we will discuss about one of the important topic from the chemical coordination, that is about the glands. So this is overall the flow chart of our lecture. So in this lecture first we will introduce the glands. So in this introduction we will further talking about the definition of gland according to the different textbook. So secondly we will classify the gland on the basis on different categories. We will classify these glands. So there are the category on which we will classify the gland into different category. Now these bases are actually the first one, that is on the basis of the shape we will classify the gland. So this is the first criteria for the classification of gland. The second one, that is on the basis of method of secretion, that how these gland are secrete their product and how these secretion of the gland are moved to their target sites. So this is actually the method of secretion. The third one, that is on the basis of the nature of excretory products. So what type of the product they are secreted? It will secrete a carbohydrate product, or it may release the lipid molecule or protein. So this is actually the nature of the excretory products. Now the first one, that is about the definition of the glands. So according to the book, that is Medical Physiology by Cotton and Hall, one of the best book of the medical physiology, that is written by the Guyton and Halls. So according to this book, gland are basically the specialized cell or the collection of cell. It means that a single cell, it may also act as a gland. As you can take the example of the goblet cell. Goblet cell are basically a unicellular exocrine gland. So this is actually a specialized, or you can say the simple a single cell, or it may be the collection of cell that secrete a chemical substance that we call as hormones, which regulate the physiology somewhere else. It means that these glands are actually a cell or the collection of cell, or you can say the group of cell, and these glands are responsible to secrete a chemical substance. When these glands they will secrete the chemical substance, so these chemical substance will regulate the physiology somewhere else, mean it will act on the target cell where they perform a specific function. So such type of the cell, or you can say the collection of cell, that are called as glands. Now the second definition, that is about the Wilson book, that is Anatomy and Physiology by Ross and Wilson. So according to this book, that gland are actually the organ, or you can say the group of cell that manufacture, mean it will synthesize and secrete a substance that functions somewhere else in the body. According to both of these definition of the gland, so glands are actually located in some part of the body where they secrete and synthesize some chemical substance. Now these chemical substance, when they are produced and synthesized in these group of cell, or you can say the organ, so they will move to somewhere else in the body, and then they will perform a specific function in other part of the body. So such type of the organ or collection of the cell that are basically called as gland. So this is actually the simplest definition of the glands. Now let us talk about some more on the glands. So the study of gland are called as endocrinology. So basically endocrinology is the study of endocrine glands. So what is endocrine gland, that we will discuss in the classification of the gland, but here we will shortly define what is endocrine gland. So those glands which does not have any type of the duct through which their secretion move to their target cell or area, so such type of the gland are called as endocrine gland. So basically the major type of the gland are actually the endocrine gland. So that's why overall we can say that the study of the gland, it is called as endocrinology. Now, if we talk about the number of the gland found in a human body, so inside the human body, there are around about 43 glands are present in the human body. Among these 43 glands, 20 of them are actually the endocrine glands. So this is about the number of the gland found in the human body. So next point, that is sponges that are actually belong to the phylum Porifera, which are the part of the kingdom Animalia have no gland in their body. So this is about the organism that don't have any type of the gland found in their body. Spongy belong to the phylum Porifera, and these organisms don't have any type of the gland found in their body. Now the next part of our lecture, that is about the classification of gland. After understanding the definition of glands and the number of glands found in the human body, so next we will talk about the classification of glands. So the first classification, this is basically based on the shape of the glands. So on this base, we will classify the gland into the following category. The first one, that is tubular glands. So the gland retaining its shape as a tube throughout the life is called as tubular glands. As the name indicates that the tubular glands are actually tube-like in shape. So that's why it is called as tubular glands. So the example of the tubular glands are mammary glands and salivary gland. These glands are actually tube-like, so that's why they are called as tubular gland. The next one, that is alveolar gland or secular glands. So what is alveolar gland or secular gland? And these gland, the secretory portion, mean from where the secreted substance or the hormone are secreted is enlarged, and the lumen mean cavity variously increase in size. So in this gland, the secretory region is enlarged while the lumen increase in size, as you can see here in the diagrams. So here the excretory, this is actually the excretory portion of the gland. So this is actually enlarged in size. So such type of the gland, they are called as alveolar gland, and you can say the secular gland. So in these both of the diagrams, these region are actually enlarged in size, and their lumen are actually increased according to the excretory portion of the gland. So this type of the gland are called as alveolar or secular gland, and this is the structure representation of these glands. And this is actually the first type, that is the tubular gland. So this is the diagram of the tubular gland. As you can see here, this gland, it look like a tube, so that's why it is called as tubular gland. So here the example of the alveolar or secular gland are actually the sebaceous gland, that is the best known example of the alveolar gland. Now the next classification, this is basically on the method of secretion, mean how this gland, how their secretion move to their target site. So that is about the method of secretion, mean how their product or secretion move to the target area. This is called as method of secretion. So on the basis of the method of secretion, glands are basically classified into three categories. The first one, that is the exocrine gland, the second one, that is endocrine gland, while the third one, that is actually the max gland, or you can say the heterocrine gland. So the first one, that is about the exocrine gland. So first of all, we will see here the meaning of exocrine glands. So the term exo, it means that out, while the crinin it is mean to secrete. So this is actually the exocrine gland. It is derived from two Greek words. The first one, that is exo, which mean out, while the crinin it mean to secrete. So what does it mean? So it simply mean that when these gland it will secrete their product, now their secretion, or you can say the product, it will move through the specific type of the ducts. So such type of the gland are called as exocrine glands. Now look at the definition of exocrine glands. Now the secretion of these glands are basically carried by their duct. So in these glands, a specialized type of the gland are found. Now through these duct, their secretion move to the target cell, or you can say the site where these glands perform a specific task in the target area. So such type of the gland are called as exocrine gland. Now this exocrine gland it is called as ducted gland because their secretion move through the duct. So that's why it is called as ducted gland. So here some of the example of the exocrine gland are mentioned here. The first one, that is the salivary gland, as is found in the mouth. The second one, that is the digestive gland. The third one, that is the tear gland. So this is some of the example of exocrine gland. Now the next type of the gland on the basis of the method of secretion, that is the endocrine glands. So the first one, that is about the origin of the word endocrines. So this endocrine term it is basically derived from two Greek words. The first one, that is endo mean inside. So here the term inside it is missing, but you have to remember this term, that is endo mean inside, while the crinin it mean to secrete. So in these glands their secretion does not move through a specialized duct as in case of the exocrine gland, but here when this gland it will remove, or it will secrete their product. So their secretion or product it will enter into the blood, and through blood they will move to their destination or the target site where they perform a specific function. Now look at the definition of the endocrine glands. So their secretion are released in ECF, which mean extracellular fluid. So when they secrete their product, so they are basically secreted into the ECF, extracellular fluids, from the ECF it will diffuse into the blood, and through blood they will circulate through the body and will reach to a target site where they perform a specific function in the body. So such type of the gland are called as endocrine gland. So other name used for the endocrine gland, that is called as ductless gland. So this is basically the ductless gland. Now here are some of the example of this ductless gland, as you can take the example of pituitary gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid gland, adrenal gland. So these are actually the example of endocrine glands. Now the third category, that is the mixed gland. So these glands have both exocrine as well as endocrine part. Mean in this gland both type of the gland are found. Mean ducted and ductless gland both are found here. So that's why it is called as mixed glands, or you can say the heterocrine gland. The major part of this gland it is basically the exocrine, but some endocrine cell or tissue also present in the mixed gland. So this is actually the max gland, and where both type of the gland, that is endocrine as well as the exocrine, both of these are found in these max glands. So here some of the example are mentioned. The first one, that is pancreas. So pancreas have both of these exocrine as well as the endocrine part. Now the exocrine part of this pancreas, it will involve in the digestive systems, as it is responsible for the digestion of food, while the endocrine part of the pancreas, that is responsible for the regulation of glucose level and the blood. So this is actually the this pancreas, it is the best example of mixed gland because it possesses both of the exocrine glands as well as the endocrine glands. So other example include ovaries and testes. So this is the second criteria for the classification of the glands, that is on the method of secretion. Now, now the third classification of gland, that is actually on the basis of the nature of excretory product. So in this gland, it will secrete or synthesize as specialized products. So they basically depend on their product. So it may release a carbohydrate product, or it may release a proteinaceous, or it may release a lipid product. So on this basis we will classify the gland into three categories. The first one, that is serous gland, the second one, that is mucous gland, and the third one, that is the sebaceous gland. So let us talk about the serous glands. So they secrete a watery, often proteinous, rich fluid-like product. So basically their product are actually fruitinaceous and natures. So that's are actually come under the category of serous glands. So here the example, that is sweat gland. So sweat gland, it their product are actually fruitinaceous and watery in nature. So they are come under the category of serous glands. Now the second category, that is the mucous gland. They secrete a viscous product that is actually rich in the carbohydrates. So their product are actually carbohydrate and natures. So they are actually the mucous glands. So goblet cell, a unicellular exocrine glands, their product are actually carbohydrate in nature, and they are come under the category of mucous gland. The third one, that is the sebaceous gland. Now sebaceous gland, they will secrete a lipid product. Their product are actually lipid in natures. They will match from the lipid molecules. So they are actually the sebaceous gland. So they are also known as oil glands. So oil are actually the lipid in nature. So that's why it is called as oil glands. So here the example, that is meibomian glands. So meibomian gland, it will secrete their product, and their product are actually lipid in natures. So this is overall about the glands and their different types. I hope you will understand the lecture very well. If you have any question regarding to this topic, you can ask in the comment sections. Thank you so much.